Today we present a special podcast we're calling Scamming and Hacking for Dummies. I'm Bertram de Souza, host of the Scribbler Publishing Group podcast and retired editorial page editor and Sunday columnist of the now closed Youngstown Vindicator. I'm also author of the book No Holds Barred that's dedicated to the Vindicator and contains 300 or so columns of the 1,600 plus I wrote during my 40 years with the newspaper. The book is on sale at Barnes & Noble in Boardman and can also be purchased online at www.scribblergroup.com. And I am the dummy who got scammed and hacked 4 weeks ago. My life has been a living hell since then, and the experience serves as a cautionary tale for others who have become complacent as they navigate cyberspace. So how common is my affliction? I'll explore the issue with cybersecurity expert Dr. Dima Rabadi, Assistant Professor of Cybersecurity at Penn State Shenango's Department of Information Sciences and Technology. Thanks, Dima, for joining me. Let's start by you telling us about yourself, your journey from Jordan to Sharon, Pennsylvania, and when did you become interested in cybersecurity?
Sure. Before going to this, I really want to thank you because I am one of your guests now. So it's my pleasure to be with you, and hi to everyone who is listening to us. Well, I'm Dima Rabadi. I am coming from Singapore. I usually say I'm from Singapore, but originally I am from Jordan.
Right.
But I have left Jordan in 2014. I went to Singapore to start my PhD. And you know, Singapore, like I spent like almost 10 years over there. So it's helped me a lot in my personal career, also in my, not also the career itself, like in shaping my character. So I owe a lot to Singapore as a country. That's why most of the time I say I'm from Singapore, but actually I'm from Jordan, yeah. And I started my PhD in cybersecurity in SUTD University, Singapore University of Technology and Design. Then I came to the States after finishing my PhD, yeah.
And so you came straight to...
No, I worked in Singapore for almost 4 years as a research scientist in cybersecurity. I'm specialized in malware detection, yeah. Then I came to the States.
And when you came to the States, you went directly to
PSU, Shenango.
Penn State,
yes.
Shenango?
Yes.
So you've just recently joined, right, the faculty?
Yeah, just 2 months ago.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
What brought you to Pennsylvania from Singapore?
Well, 2 things. First of all, my husband, so he's from the States, and I want to get closer with him. This is one thing, but to be honest with you, the personal career is what I really care about. Like PSU is one of the best universities, especially in cybersecurity. And I wanted to continue in the academic career or the academic path. Because when I was in Singapore, I was still doing both the industry part and the academic part.
Right.
So I wanted to put myself with the well-known people. Like PSU is the best, like my first track, yeah.
Okay. Your interest has primarily been in cybersecurity and digital forensics.
Yes.
Could you explain what that means in layman's terms so that we could understand?
So cybersecurity is the big umbrella, like how we can secure everything, all the systems. When we say system, we say our computing device. It could be our phone. It could be the whole company. Whenever we say a device, any device that is connected to internet, we need to secure it. And when we say digital forensics, actually the data set itself, how we can make sure the data is secured, or we can say it the digital forensic is just one part of the cybersecurity, something like this. When we say about analysis, we're talking about digital forensics. But the cybersecurity itself, it could be in different layers, like the hardware layer, the network layer, the application layer. So my specialty is in the malware for the mobile phones, for our PCs. Like everyone is using laptop nowadays, and everyone is using his phone. So how we can make sure our data, ourselves, we are secure, like no one will attack us.
Well, we'll get into that because despite the fact that you know, there's you and others who are doing everything you can to secure you know, all of this, our computers and our phones and all of that. Scamming and hacking is still a huge problem, and
Sure.
I know because I've now been the victim of being scammed and hacked, and I'll tell you what, for the last 4 weeks my life has been hell because you have to do everything all over again. So explain to us how it is that despite all of the research that has been done, despite of all of the efforts that have been made to secure your phone and your laptop and your desktop and your, you know, and your iPad, hacking and scamming are still realities and still occurring. And explain that to us.
Sure. Before going to this, I want to make it clear that doesn't matter how much we secure any device, doesn't matter how much we play our part as scientists or as engineers to secure the device itself. At the end of the day, if the user who's using the device is not following the instruction in the correct way, then everything we do, it doesn't make sense. At the end of the day, it's our responsibility, like as individual, it's our responsibility to secure the data, how we connect or how we interact with the application itself. So I can make it simple.
Sure.
If we having social media right now, Facebook, Instagram, all these applications, right? Doesn't matter how much secure they are. They give you a username and they ask you to set the password. If at the end of the day, you as a user, you shared your username with someone, you shared your password with someone, you opened your account in different devices and you never logged off, then doesn't matter how they are trying to make it secure, you didn't follow the instruction properly. So you can say there are two kinds of firewalls in life. The firewall given from the application itself and the human firewall. And the human firewall is what we need to work on it more. We need to educate everyone about how risky it is to share this information or to not follow the instructions in correct way.
Okay, so you being an expert in cybersecurity and having done research, how do you use your phone, your iPad, your laptop, your desktop? What precautions do you take, or how do you ensure that somebody is not, you know, looking over your shoulder as you're doing whatever it is you're doing?
Sure, this is very nice question. So I cannot say that I'm using all the social media accounts. Some accounts or some application I do have them, and some I say no, I don't want to use them anymore. And whenever I install any application on my phone, even the bank accounts or the bank application, even when we want to pay for the bill, so the power, the electricity power, the water, these things, whenever we want to pay for them, we have to install the application on our phone, correct? Mm-hmm. The first step in every application, they give you the terms and conditions whenever you create your account. And the terms and conditions, usually, most of us, we just say accept all.
Don't tell me you read.
We never.
Don't tell me you read the
you
terms.
You should.
Come on! Do you see how long this is?
Yeah, it is long, but you have to make sure what they can connect to in your phone. Sometimes, like Facebook, when you install it in your phone, the Messenger, they have access to your video camera. They have access to your microphone. They have access to everything because at the end of the day, we want to use them. We want to use the application. So we need to know what kind of interaction going between your application and your phone or yourself as a user. So you have to read them all before accepting. This is one thing. The second thing, usually you need to create an account with an email and password.
Right.
And most of us, we use the same email for everything. The same email for our work. Yeah. Whenever we want to buy something online, like internet shopping, we use the same email. We use it for our bank account. We use it for everything.
Right.
And this is not correct. We should have different emails for different purposes. So when we talk about financial applications, usually we should use an email with the, we call it double authentication. Like instead of only username and password, we have two factors for the authentication, like password and some extra information, maybe your phone, your date of, like your phone number, your date of birth, some questions about like who is your best friend, what is the name of your favorite pet, these things. So those questions usually no one knows them and they are very private.
Right.
So we have double the security. Instead of having only username and password, we have multiple things also. So this is the simple thing I can tell you. And of course, not using the same password for all the applications. So usually people have the short password, like my first name, then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Yeah.
This is not correct. We should use a hard password. Maybe it doesn't include your name, your date of birth, these things. It's some people, they share their birthday on social media. So it's very known to everybody. So try to use a hard password, something with capital letters, with symbols like the question mark, underscore, these things.
Do you know how I've been trying to change my username and password for everything? Do you know how difficult it is to try and come up with different passwords and usernames?
Yes, it is difficult, but this is the best thing you can do, like just having a way to secure your account. You don't want any person to guess your account, right? Sometimes just, I can tell you, one of your password is Bertram 12345 and the name of the application, let's say Facebook. This is one of your password maybe. Usually you have to choose something very hard and try to change it regularly, every 2 months or so.
So you've done research as part of your PhD and even after you got your doctorate in cybersecurity.
Yes.
So you delved into cyber crimes, you delved into the deep recesses of these hackers and scammers. Why are they so successful? And I'll tell you why I asked the question. So in trying, I had to get rid of all my bank accounts. I froze all my bank accounts and had to reopen new bank accounts. Mm-hmm. And in talking to a banker, I asked the question, I said, with all of the IT people that you have at this major bank, why is it possible for somebody to be able to come in and delve into these accounts or infiltrate? And the banker said to me, well, there are a lot of very, very great computer experts out there. And a lot of them are doing illegal work because they get paid a lot more than the banks pay to the IT people. And therefore, they're able to overcome whatever, firewalls the bank might create and all of that because these people are so good at what they do. Is that true?
It's not as true as what you said. It's not in that way. So when we say illegal things and unethical hacker, they gain a lot of money. Of course they do. But what about our value? What about the good thing and the bad thing? Like we have ethical hacking, and we do gain good money when we say ethical hacking.
What's ethical hacking?
So he's attacker, but the intention for the attacker is good intention. They want to help find the vulnerables or the some backdoors in any organization. So if I am a bank, I will go and I hire either ethical hacker, or even we have a company where they have a group of ethical hackers inside.
Okay.
We pay for those people to come, and we let them have access to some of my organization, and we tell them, you are a hacker. Can you tell me, can you give me a report where you show me what are the vulnerabilities of my system? So in this way, I can know what the unethical hacker can do, what they can steal from my system. I can make sure I fix my organization before the bad thing happen or before the damage. And of course, I'll pay money for the ethical hacker, but it's very less compared to recovering from the damage if there is a real hacker in my system. You get what I mean?
Yeah, but yet the unethical, illegal hackers and scammers are out there.
Yeah, of course, yes.
And they're operating around the world,
Yes.
right? So why are they being able, after all these years, why are they still being able to operate that way? Is it because people like me are complacent, we don't pay attention? Is it the user's fault, or who do you blame
So we
for
cannot
this?
point the finger on one factor only. We have so many factors here. It's like a big equation. We have us as an individual. We have, like long time ago, security wasn't the plan. Like when the operating system, we wanted to come up with a Windows operating system or Mac operating system. Long time ago, security wasn't there in our mind. We just want to come up with the service. And by the years, we added the security as a new layer over here, okay? So adding something on an infrastructure that wasn't really secure is the problem. Nowadays, we are changing the whole trend. We are at the manufacturer level, at the software level, when we want to write our own code, since beginning, we are thinking about security. So nowadays, it's much better than before. We still can make our systems or our organization more secure, but of course, bad people are always there for different intentions. Sometimes it's not only money. So the intention or the motivation behind this, it's different from one person to the other. Like we cannot say it's always about money. Sometimes the motivation is just to make the service denial. We don't want the service to be there. We want to harm the reputation of this organization. We're talking about competition over here. So harming the reputation itself, this is one of the motivation. Sometimes it's about the different level, like political levels. So it's not only about the money, I can tell you. And we need to secure multiple things. Of course, there is an IT department in each organization. They are doing a really good job. But at the end of the day, the clients or the individual, they need to follow the instructions. We need to educate all people about this. Yeah.
And I think that was going to be my next question. Younger people are much more savvy as far as using all of this, the electronic equipment and phones and whatever, than older people. And yeah, I will admit, I said, my age, I said when I got scammed and hacked, I had been doing the same thing for 3 years, going to the same site, logging in at the same site. And so when I did it and got a prompt on my computer screen that says, your account has been frozen because of illegal activity, my first thought was, there's something wrong here. So I went back, closed, reopened, did the same thing again. And then when I got the prompt and said, call this number, that's when I called that number and I immediately, and without thinking, I was at that point so frustrated that I just went ahead and allowed this individual to get deeply into my bank accounts, my phone, my desktop. But the question I had is, and so it forced me to buy I bought a new iPad, a new phone, I'm getting a new laptop.
About this.
But
yeah.
The question I have is, does the age of the equipment that you're using matter? Because when I was using my new iPhone, which by the way I don't really like, I had a very old Samsung, which I preferred to this thing. I was calling somebody and she said to me, I hear a clicking noise in your phone. It's like somebody's tapping into your phone. And I started thinking, my God, they're following me everywhere now. The hackers know where I've gone. So I took it to an expert. And he says, no, you can't do those kinds of things with these new phones. And also with the new iPad. Is the age of the equipment you use an issue and a factor?
Sure. I just mentioned earlier about like long time ago, we didn't have security in our own mind. When we manufactured the phone or the laptop at the hardware level and also the software, the operating system itself, we were not thinking about security. That's why the old devices, they are not secured. And not also the old devices. Sometimes we do have a brand new phone, and we don't update our phone. We don't update our laptop. So let's say Windows update. We usually have Windows update, and we need to regularly update our laptops. Those are usually the software updates because they do have things to do with the security. They need a new security level where they usually release it in the update. So it's not also about the age, the update of the software itself. It matters.
And so if you have an older computer and you find yourself has been scammed or hacked, one of the suggestions that was made to me is, okay, you need to have your computer scrubbed. Unplug it, turn off Wi-Fi and all, and then take it to some expert and have it scrubbed. And before you do that, you can transfer all of your files from your computer to your new computer. I wanted to do that, and this expert said to me, no, because you don't know whether the hacker has gotten into your files and put something in there that will follow the file into your, is that right?
Yeah, but in the way you're talking, I imagine there is an attacker who is 24 hours just trying to go from one file to the other file, as if there is a person really. It's not like this when we're talking about attacker. So what his suggestion is correct, because your files themselves, maybe they are being affected by a malware, and most of the times the malware is passive. They don't do anything. They just wait till the time is there, and they will replicate themselves from one file to other file. So the whole files should be affected in your affected in your system. That's why he wanted you to stop copying them from one device to the other. You get what I mean? So it's vulnerable files itself. So maybe they are, whatever you're typing on your keyboard, they are saving the keys whenever you type in the keyboard. They are saving all information, like your username, you type it, your email, when you type it, your password, they are saved somewhere in your PC. So that's why he doesn't want you to copy and paste them from one place to the other. And sometimes they have a connection with the internet, so your file is there in your PC, and you think it's just a Word document or a PDF document.
Right.
However, they are other program. They look like a Word document or PDF, but they are other kind of program where they send everything you type on your keyboard to a server, let's say, for different kind of intention, or we don't know why they want to use them, something legal or not, that's another thing. But all of your information are kept in some other people PC or some other server in life.
So your life is in somebody else's hands in a
You can say this, yes.
So how do you prevent this?
Yeah, so when you mentioned your the attack you have been through, you said you got a terminal and they ask
Right.
you to call.
Right.
If you didn't call, there is nothing bad could happen, right? But that's why I highly suggest a TED Talk on, you can find it also on YouTube. It's called The Human Firewall, okay? It's for Robert May. It's one of the best, where doesn't matter how much, if the laptop is new, it's the software is up to date, you bought it for $2,000, it's one of the best, well-reputed PC or phone, doesn't matter. If we as individual, we don't follow the rights, and we ask ourselves twice before any action. If you just ask yourself, what is this number? Maybe you can Google that number. There are so many companies where they can give you who is the owner of their phone call or the phone number. If you just done that and you don't just follow the first thing comes to your mind is just calling the number. And after you call the number, based on the discussion I had with you offline, you called and you kept giving him whatever he's
Yes.
asking you to do.
Yeah.
So since beginning, even if your PC was all dated, if you didn't
Yes.
call, nothing bad would happen.
But your instinct is trust, right?
No.
So what you're saying is don't trust, but let me tell you why. So I had to call the investment company to warn them that I had been scammed and hacked. And so I called the number, and I know it's the legitimate number, and the person who was talking to me said, okay, we're going to have to change your account numbers. And I said, okay. And he says, so let's do it together. And I said, no. And he said, what do you mean no? I said, how do I know I'm talking to a legitimate person? And he got angry and he said, you called me. And I said, well, I called a hacker too. And after 4 hours, I realized I was in trouble. I said, I want to go to an office and sit across the desk from a human being so that I can see what he's doing. And he says, they won't be able to help you. Yeah. This is all done online. That's upsetting, that you cannot anymore sit in an office and talk to a human being and say, okay, let's open an account, show me what you're doing. I mean, you're putting our lives, in the hands of we don't know who, right?
Yes, true, correct. I can tell you, we don't live in the perfect life nowadays, and it is frustrating for different, like my mom, my father. I know this happened to them also, my brothers, but we need to educate ourselves. That's the best we can do right now. We need to always think before, like even if you called your bank, the real bank provider for you, when you call them, you don't expect them to ask you about your password or your account, like any key questions in your account. Usually they ask you about your email, and sometimes they ask you about the last 4 digits of your account number.
Right.
And let's say in which branch have you opened your account. They will never ask you about any kind of questions. And nowadays I can see, since I came to the state and I want to have power, electricity in my house, the water, these things. Yeah. Whenever I call and anybody asks me, the first question is, what is your social security number? I avoid answering that question. The first thing I say, why you need it? Is it necessary? Can you open the account without having me answering this on the phone? Can you send me the link, the trusted link from your office where I can enter the social security number, instead of just giving it to someone where I'm not sure if he's really the correct place or not?
So your advice is, if you are, say you want to sign up for water service, or electric service or gas,
not only these, anything.
Any utility, any company, and
your passport number, your social security number, your date of birth, those information, why they need to know them now.
So your advice would be to have them email the form to you, so that you yourself can see.
And again, when they email the form to anybody, you have to check the website. Is it www.google.com? It's Google, right? Sometimes there is triple E at the end, or double E. We don't make sure it's the correct website or not. Always read your website, make sure it's the correct website. They are identical pages on the internet. They look exactly the same photos, same links, same icons. However, they belong to two different people. One is the ethical one, and one is the unethical one. So you have to ask yourself many questions before having any interaction with your laptop or PC. And it's not as bad as I explain it. I don't want.
It is bad.
No, it's not that bad. If you are following the instruction in correct way, you are in good hands. Okay. Yeah.
Before we move on, if Andy, Billy, or Megan, who are part of the Triad, have any questions, please, give them to me, because there might be questions that I'm not asking that Dima.
My question is, what we were trying to figure out is somehow or another somebody got in there and then convinced him to call them. So somebody got it a little bit different. Like it didn't look like he clicked on anything. Right? It's what you had run into. It seemed a little bit different.
So it's not about the phone call. It's about clicking on the thing.
But he said he didn't click on anything. That's what we were trying to figure out. It's like, did you click?
No, I did. I clicked on. I went to the site that I've always gone to, and it says log in.
So you were in the wrong site. So instead of Google with E, maybe it's EE. Or instead of Google starting with G, it was with J. And you never really saw the correct.
Look at it closely.
Yes.
Because I did the same thing for 3 years, nothing happened. And then all of a sudden, when you get a prompt on your computer that says, you cannot log in because your account is frozen, you don't think it's illegitimate. You think this is a legitimate thing, right?
Yeah.
And so that's where I guess I made the mistake.
Okay.
Now, what the tech?
So the best way for everybody now is once you are in the correct website, like the correct website, anything for your bank, your email, try to save them in the bookmarks in your PC. There is a star at the Explorer, whatever Explorer you're using, like
Yeah.
Google, the Microsoft Edge. There is an icon with a star where you can save the website. So instead of every time you type the name and it
okay.
will show you different links and then you will click to that link,
Right.
no need to do this. Just save it in your bookmarks bar in your Explorer. And save the correct one. Don't save the wrong one.
All right. As far as your passwords and your username, and right now I've not done. In the old phone, I had put them all in notes. In the notes, in the notes.
You put your username and password in the
on
notes?
the phone.
Okay. And
Okay.
you want your phone to be secure?
So where do you save your username and password?
Here.
Oh, come on. You have a dozen passwords and usernames in your head?
No, there is a way to do this. Like there is a way to
Okay,
organize your
explain
password.
that way, because it has been explained to me, but I'd like you to explain to our viewers, how do you save username and passwords?
So again, the email is not one email. For social media, one email. For my bank, one email. For my career, my university, other email. I don't use same email for everything. This is one thing, and it should be clear. I don't use, like if someone attacked one email using the same password, they are able to attack multiple things if they are belonging to the same email, right? If someone having access to my Google, they have access to everything, my phone. I mean, when I say Google, my Google email, so my Gmail.
Yeah.
They have access to my Gmail account, to even when you want to buy something online, you have your email, and if you're using your Gmail and it's got attacked, they know the password, they can go from your email to the shopping list in your Amazon or in your, I don't know what kind
Right.
of website you're using to purchase. So
I don't do online shopping.
nice. So if you do online shopping, usually don't use the same bank, like the credit card. Don't use one credit card. Use a different credit card and only assign small amount of money in that credit card, the second one. So if you want to buy a laptop for, let's say, $1,000, usually that credit card is empty. Once you want to use it, you send the $1,000 to that credit card and you use it for that specific task. You got it?
So how many credit cards do you have?
I have only two. Yeah. Well, my husband.
Your husband's watching.
My husband has
what's going
two.
on here.
Yeah, my husband has two. So technically speaking, I have four.
So how many email addresses do you have?
I have 3 email addresses. Yeah. One for the professional one
Right.
from my university,
Right.
and my Google account, because it's one of the best. Like it at least has the 2 key security, where you can having multiple way to secure your account instead of having only your password.
That's the Gmail.
Yes, the
okay.
Gmail account. Yeah, and I
Okay.
have a third one that I don't want to share. Yeah.
And the reason for having multiple is so that they cannot, if they hack into one, they cannot get into the other.
And for different purposes. So the university one for the professional
Right.
use, the third one for the bank use, for financial use, and your Gmail, maybe you want it for your social media account.
So you have a separate email account for your financial institution?
Yes, yes.
Oh.
You can even use your Gmail, your university one, but I don't want to mix
Right,
between them.
right.
Yeah. Yeah.
So how, when you're teaching,
That's the favorite part for me.
it is a favorite part for you. So when you're teaching, who are you teaching to? Because you have a doctorate.
Yes.
So who are the students and what's their interest? Tell us about
Sure.
it.
In Singapore, it was different than in the State. In the State, I am teaching the undergraduate in PSU University in Shenango, and I do have multiple students around Pennsylvania, like from different campuses, from the Ward campus, from the University Park campus. They are, till now, they are all undergraduate, and the main courses is both like computer science and cybersecurity. The first 2 years, I can tell you, let's say about Shenango a little bit, the department I'm working on right now. Some people, they mix, they think it's just a community college. Actually, we do have a program for 4 years. It is not a college, it's a university. So
Right.
we have the bachelor degree for 4 years. The program is cybersecurity. The first 1 year, we teach them about computer science, the operating system, and then we go advanced on the third year and the fourth year. So you remember when I mentioned about the ethical hacking?
Right.
We do teach them about how to attack a device, but in ethical way. So this is one of the programs we
Isn't
work.
it dangerous? Because you're assuming that the students you're teaching to be ethical hackers are going to follow the ethics of life. They could well become unethical hackers, right? Because of what
Sure.
you've taught them.
Sure, but this is the way where we influence our students to choose the correct path. So I can influence them in the correct way. And even if we don't teach them, if the student is willing to attack, there is something in scientific word, we call it script kiddies, where there is a script and any kid can follow these steps and attack any device.
What do you mean, any kid?
Any kid, it's teenager, 7 years old.
Just following the script
Just-
can attack a device?
Yes. So I don't want people to think like attacking is huge. It's not. It depends on how secure our device or our organization is. We have vulnerabilities, we have exploits, we have backdoors. The main goal is to find those backdoors or those vulnerabilities, and we find them before the bad or unethical hackers find them. So it could be anything, maybe a weak password. That is one of the vulnerabilities we have. Weak password means I have access to everything. And in life, we have something called, sorry, not in life, in scientific computer science or in cybersecurity, we have something called a force attack, where we try multiple usernames and password all over the world. So it's kind of a bank of names and a bank of password. Any password, we try them all to a kind of the device or the email. We try all of them. Of course, one of the password and the username will work with us, with the whole bank of names and passwords. So it's called brute force attack. We're forcing a different list of usernames and passwords, and one of them will work out. That's why we should not use the easy password from this list. We should not use password 12345 or my first name with 12345. We should use something difficult with capital letters. We should not add our birth inside. Maybe your grandmother name. This is one option. It's really good and it's work.
Okay.
Your grandmother name with one of your grandchildren. So this is also works, but not only that. With letters and numbers, some symbols like equation mark, underscore. Yeah, you can mix.
Okay, so there is an app where you can put all your passwords in, and then you have a number or password to open up that app in order to see your whole list of usernames and passwords, right?
I'm not aware of this. I never added my password anywhere. So
okay.
if there is something like this, please don't follow.
Okay, so you did say you have them all in your head, but where, if somebody wants to know, like I want to know, where should I store my password and username? If not on the equipment, if not, you know what, put it in a safety deposit box in the bank?
You can do this. Why not? Yeah.
No, how do you remember?
I choose an not easy password, but easy to remember password. Something related to your email. Let's say I have organization and I have to open the account for each client. The organization, it's called PSU. Let's say my university. I don't use PSU in my password, but I have similar thing in my mind related to PSU, which is, let's say, my work. So I say work, one word. I don't want to write it as a work. I have W, and instead of O, I use 0, let's say. Instead of R, I use something to remember in my mind, like one of my friends' names start with R, so I take it. Something like that. How you can easy reminding yourself about which letter it is. You get what I mean? So this is how it should be.
You know, I was as you were talking, I'm thinking that'd be huge business if somebody started a company that helps people with passwords and usernames, right? Because it's really, and it is complicated. And so when you have a lot of them, you have to store them somewhere, otherwise you forget. I mean,
correct, yeah.
And so is there a way to store them? That
I personally don't suggest this. So I'm against storing itself. Storing password. There is a way to store your password, and this is like extreme advanced, but where you can sign your password or hash it. So instead of the password itself, it will be I don't know how to explain it for people who's outside cybersecurity or computer science, but it's kind of two images. They are exactly the same. This image, it looks with so many symbols, we cannot understand it. It's like encrypted. And the other one is the password. Both, they belong to the same thing. Both are the password, but one is encrypted and one is not. So for the computer science, it's easy to do. It's just one step to encrypt and decrypt your password. Yeah, but for us, I don't save my password anywhere. Yeah.
All right. Finally, a couple of final questions. Why is it that there are so many hackers that are coming out of Russia and China and all of these countries? Because this hacker this scammer who was walking me through changing everything and putting up, creating new pages and all of that, he showed me on the screen 15 transactions out of China that were attempting to get into my account, my financial account. And I didn't think it was wrong because I saw China and I'm thinking, all right. But the reality is there are a lot of hackers, around the world, especially in countries like Russia. Why? What, in your research and all, what's going on? Why is it that?
So I don't want to focus about the nationality, hackers from Russia or hackers from China. The number of people in Russia is too big. The number of people in China is too big.
Right.
The number, it's not we cannot compare it with the number of people in Jordan. So if there are attackers in Jordan, in my home country, we don't see them because there are so many population over there, the other countries.
Right.
That's why we now hear them saying from Russia and China. And they are very well-developed countries. They do have a cyber ranges over there. They do have universities where they focus on cybersecurity. And the intention is different. The people in China, they have different intent, why they want to attack and who they want to attack. So it's not about the nationality at all.
But yet there are...
and there are so many attackers from the States, you know.
Right.
So many from India also.
Yes.
It's because the population is too huge. That's why we're seeing them. We have so many attackers from Iran and from the Middle East also. So it's not about the nationality, but we focus on cybersecurity. Like in the Middle East, we start focusing on cybersecurity nowadays. But previously, only few countries where they study about cybersecurity. Like States, one of them, Russia, one of them, Ukraine was one of them. So,
okay, so how successful has law enforcement been in cracking down on hacking and this sort of illegal activities.
Can you repeat the question?
How successful has law enforcement been? Like, you know, law enforcement agencies. How successful have they been in going after these illegal actors?
So we need to know, like, the unethical hacker or the cyber criminals, it's a crime at the end of the day. But we don't see the victim. That's why we think it's not a crime.
Right.
But it is a crime. Yes. And we do have organization in each country where if they caught the attacker, they will be going to the jail. So we are doing really good, but the attackers are really smart. So we're doing our part as researchers. The government, they are doing their part to find those unethical hackers. But this is the life. We do have bad people for bad intention, with bad intention.
So we are focused on individuals.
Yes.
Right now. But government agencies around the world are also vulnerable,
yes,
right?
Of course, yes.
And so are there enough security levels that have been implemented?
Yes,
to
of course.
Protect?
Yes, yes. So when we talk about security at individual levels, it's different than the security at organization or governmental offices. Each one has its own security for its own purpose. But of course, for the government, I can say it's very hard to do this unless you have really a huge organization, unethical organization with many attackers like belong to it. So we're doing really good job in terms of the government side. Of course, the security level is way more better than us as individuals.
But businesses? There's still a lot for businesses.
Nowadays is much better than before. Nowadays, each organization, they do have security departments in it. Even the universities, we do have IT and security IT department. The bank, so even the school. You know, during the COVID, every university or school, the way they teach is through internet.
Right.
So security was needed at that time. That's why each organization, they start taking security for real, like seriously. So yeah, it's much better than before.
Given your background and your education, and I know you said you love teaching, and that's been your goal. But did you ever consider sort of getting into the security business and you know, doing that work instead of? So
you mean if I choose industry?
Right.
Actually, after I graduated from my PhD, I wanted to answer that question. Do I want academia or I want pure industry work? And I worked in I2R, Infocom Institute Research. It's one of the big research institutes in Singapore. And they were very helpful at that time because they give me the two opportunities. I was working in like dealing with governmental project and with industrial project and with academic project. So I had to experience them all. And then after 3 years, I knew, okay, I want to focus on the academic path. So I had experienced the industry before, yeah. Then I chose the academia.
Okay. Finally, what advice would you give? If there is one word that you would select as advice to people who spend their time on the internet, who spend their time into doing whatever online and all of that, what advice would you give them?
First, I don't want them to be really scared. It's not as bad as we think, but we need to follow the proper instructions. Like, ask yourself many times before like interacting with your PC, what kind of interaction you want, what kind of action you wanted. Like, if you want to visit a website, is it the correct website? Okay, if it's the correct website, what things I want? I want to, let's say, do online shopping. I want to have it for a social media, a website. Like, it depends on what you really want to use your PC for or your device. Sometimes we want to just play games. We need to know what kind of games we want to install in our PC. You get what I mean?
Right.
So always remember to think twice before any action. That's what my advice. And never ever store your password or share it with anyone, and never call anyone if you don't know the number, if it's the correct agency or not.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks very much for your
Sure.
time.
Yeah, it was my
It was
pleasure.
wonderful. You've given us a lot of insight and also a lot to think
Sure.
about. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you so
Thanks.
much.
We've come to the end of what I hope has been an eye-opening, informative podcast on the dangers of being complacent when exploring cyberspace. I thank my special guest, Dr. Dima Rabadi, for her insight and first-hand knowledge of what takes place in the darkest recesses of the digital world. My thanks to Billy Carrier, the head of Triad Production Group, who produced this podcast, and Andy Kunkel, the technical director. Please share and like this podcast and click on the subscribe button. The podcast is streamed on the Scribbler YouTube channel and Facebook page, WFMJ.com, and other digital platforms. If you want to revel in my misery, I will be hosting a tell-all podcast of how I got scammed and hacked as I went about logging onto a financial transaction site that I've used for the past 3 years. As part of this podcast, we will attempt to get a hold of the scammers by calling the number that they left on my desktop computer under the guise of helping to stop illegal transactions that were detected in my account. As I said in the opening, my life has been a living hell and I feel the need to fight back. I'm Bertram de Souza, wishing you safe travels in cyberspace. Thank you, Dr. Rabadi, for joining me today.
It's nice to be here, Bertram.
You have to put a little cute little dimple in your cheek. Come on, put a dimple in your cheek.
All right.
Was
You
it
got a
good?
one? Yeah.
Okay.
Let me go to the other. Oh, Bertram.
I was watching that and I thought, if I had a daughter, I'd like my daughter to be like her. Educated, well-spoken, interesting. Brilliant, soccer player, jogger, weightlifter.
Yeah, now that you mention it, they kind of make me sick. But they're not good at directions
Yeah, that's true.
or navigation.
Yeah, that's the only bad thing we can say about them. They're not good at directions.
Yeah, they can't, yeah.
Could you turn it a little bit this way, please? There, great. Yeah. Okay.
All right.
3, 2, 1. We've come to the end of what I hope has been an eye-opening, informative podcast on the dangers of being complacent when exploring cyberspace. I thank my special guest, Dr. Dima Rabadi, for her insight and first-hand knowledge of what takes place in the darkest recesses of the digital world.
Thank you, Robert.
Now, kill all of that.
I'm not going to kill Robert.
Kill Robert.
I is well aware. Is that it?
No, we have to kill Robert. We have to kill Robert. We have to kill Robert.
Can you mind going do that? Because I don't want to. I've already got one on my record.
For what?
You got to go kill Robert.
Why are we gonna kill Robert?
Because he insulted Bertram
Yes,
by not showing up.
he refused to come, so we're killing him.
Is he even into it?
I don't
Yes, he is. The state report cards are out today,
know.
and so they're trying to see how badly Youngstown did,
I
which was
also
awful.
Also thank Robert McFerrin for not only managing Robert, former director of
Right.
the production group,
Right.
produces podcast,
Right.
Triad, so
Leave you in and leave
Robert.
Andy in.
Former design
Leave you
chief.
guys in.
Wow, you talked about Robert a lot here.
I know I
Like
did.
You guys are,
Yeah, buddies. Yeah,
Let's see. But he told me he doesn't like you.
yeah.
I'm kidding.
He doesn't,
Oh, sure. What? What is that? Huh?
because he likes Cindy better.
See the caption?
What is that? I'm getting old. I can't read memes anymore. I'm like, wait, it's so small. Hold on.
Take your time.
I want to let me edit there.
Andy, do you know what you should do to vegetables before roasting them?
What?
Wash them. Am I right?
It says, sheet pan meals are an excellent way to get dinner on the table, but you still want a full meal of robust fish. When you have a negotiated sheet pan for quick and easy, and you don't, we recommend this maple glazed sheet pan salmon. You want crispy. For pre-cooking your vegetables before roasting them is the best way to make them caramelized yet tender. You can either parboil your product in water or stick to the single sheet pan prep and steam roast your veggies first, as recommended by Spoon University. By steaming the veggies before roasting them, your produce will retain its moisture instead of drying out. There, Andy.
Okay, why just me?
Because you're a vegetarian.
No, I'm not.
I'm a vegetarian.
No, you're not. That's
Yeah,
the.
man, you can get fat being a vegetarian.
It is.
Actually, it's easier. I dated a girl.
You know, one of the best sites on YouTube, one of the best YouTube sites, is this former Buckingham Palace chef who cooks the meals that what the Queen liked and what Prince Charles liked. And it was really fascinating, all the stuff that they ate. I mean, oh.
Oh, there were three skunks around my house last night.
Skunks?
3.
You should have grabbed them, let them save the skunk oil, make perfume, and you could sell it online. But of course, you get sprayed too. And if you get sprayed by skunks, you have to use tomato juice.
Yeah, let me.
Doesn't work that
It
great.
was one of them was a bull-nosed. One of them looked like all black with white head and a white spot on the tail. And you could tell.
Hold a minute.
It's short and bushy and fluffy.
I'm wondering what's happening because I saw a dead skunk on the road coming down from the north side. You saw 3.
And then
I wonder if they're coming out for some
one of
reason.
them looked like this, where it was almost all white on top.
Oh my God!
Yeah, it was all white on top.
Huh. We had one in our backyard about a month ago.
I wonder if there's something happening where the skunks are now coming out of hiding to attack.
No.
The attack of the
Like
skunks.
birds.
It's a very MAGA neighborhood, so.
You really gotta let go of all that hate, Andy.
Yeah, you do, Andy.
It's not healthy,
No, it's not, Andy.
and it only strengthens the
Tell that to
Donald.
Phil.
Yes, Andy.
It only strengthens him.
Tell that to Phil.
Oh, by the way, I did not introduce myself in the Trump podcast, so you're going to have to use my name under.
Okay. Yeah, I'll put a super.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. I think we got it.
We ready?
I think so.
I still don't understand what you were telling me about this. I have no idea what you're talking about.
We can try to set it up for you if you want after.
Yeah,
It's-
okay.
It's, it just needs more ways of proving it's you than just your login. So.
Hold on, maybe I have that. Do I?
I don't. I went into your settings and it looked like you didn't have a cell phone listed or anything like that. So you got to put in like a cell phone number. We'll look at it, but yeah, it's for your own sake. It'll prevent something like what happened from happening again. It's a good thing. in the long run.
Yeah, keep telling me it's a good thing. Like I know, I believe you guys. Yeah. After, $3,000 worth of shit I had to buy. Tell me it's a good thing.
Oh man, Tim Ryan. Look, this is quite the.
Yeah.
Because he's been.
Oh, by the way, do you know why Ruli is pissed at Hagen? Because Hagen has been going around town, making the announcement, looking for Ruli on in aisle 13, looking for Ruli in aisle 13. Yeah.
Really do that?
I don't know if it was him or not, but he has been saying that Ruli's been hiding and won't talk to him, won't debate, won't do anything. So Hagen has been going around town saying, on aisle 13, looking for Ruli.
Yeah, but apparently he accused Ruley of
Burning his sign.
Not harassing people at his
around
stores.
Ruley Brothers on South Avenue harassing customers.
Who- Hagen,
Ruli
it's the case,
accused
it's Hagen, right, yeah.
But it's not Hagen.
No.
Because apparently Christopher, who's I think a Democratic
Right.
commissioner or whatever.
Right.
Made a post about it. At the same time, he's been accused. He was at this other event with tailgating event or something. Anyway,
Ruli Brothers, the smelliest store in the world in Austin Town. Ew.
Trump was pretty bad, but yeah.
Huh?
Austin Town. Oh,
Yeah, Austin Town is all awful. Oh,
Yeah.
it's a real shame. But anyway.
yeah, okay. 3, 2, 1. Ready?
Yeah.
Yep. Ready.
We've come to the end of what I hope has been an eye-opening, informative podcast on the dangers of being complacent when exploring cyberspace. I thank my special guest, Dr. Dima Rabadi, for her insight and first-hand knowledge of what takes place in the darkest recesses of the digital world. My thanks to Billy, the great carrier, the head of Triad Production Group, who produced this podcast, and Andy Kunkel,
Just Andy Kunkel.
We have to do some. I mean, let's see. I was trying to remember, say something about Andy Kunkel. The, you know.
Andy, oh, you want Andy the
Technical
Magnificent? Sorry,
Andy the jockstrap Kunkel.
Me?
Yeah.
You didn't see that?
Harry Carey?
No, I put in Billy. I put
Billy.
Recording again. We should probably
Okay.
do this.
All right.
It's too loud downstairs. All right, 3,
Here we go.
2.
We've come to the end of what I hope has been an eye-opening, informative podcast on the dangers of being complacent when exploring cyberspace. I thank my special guest, Dr. Dima Rabadi, for her insight and first-hand knowledge of what takes place in the darkest recesses of the digital world. My thanks to Billy Carrier, the head of Triad Production Group, who produced this podcast, and Andy Kunkel, the technical director. Please share and like this podcast and click on the subscribe button. The podcast is streamed on the Scribbler YouTube channel and Facebook page, WFMJ.com, and other digital platforms. If you want to revel in my misery, I will be hosting a tell-all podcast of how I got scammed and hacked as I went about logging onto a financial transaction site that I've used for the past 3 years. As part of this podcast, we will attempt to get a hold of the scammers by calling the number that they left on my desktop computer under the guise of helping to stop illegal transactions that were detected in my account. As I said in the opening, my life has been a living hell and I feel the need to fight back. I'm Bertram de Souza, wishing you safe travels in cyberspace.